to be elected to this to this privileged board since its inception in 1982. Rajesh, a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Kartik. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here on this conversation with you and the team at Geeks on Feet.
Wonderful. And then we also have the good doctor, Dr. MVT Krishna Mohan. He's a senior consultant in medical oncology at the Indo-American Cancer Hospital and Research Institute in Hyderabad, an avid long-distance runner himself, and has been an integral part of the Hyderabad runners for about 7 years now, volunteering in several events. A small fact that I'm missing here is that he is the medical director for NMDC Hyderabad Marathon 2025. Doctor, again, a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And to complete this panel, we have Shyam Lata, or as we call him, Shyam, basically with us. He's an MBA.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, hi, Shyam. He's an MBA CS and LLM by qualification and has his own consulting firm, has been actively running since 2004 and has completed about 93 marathons and 47 ultras. He was recently inducted into the TMM Legend Club, having completed 13 marathons at the TMM. And Shyam has also run, 12 Hyderabad marathons?
That's right, yes.
Okay, 12
Thanks to
marathons.
Rajesh.
So there's a lot of running pedigree over there, basically. Welcome, Shyam.
Thank you.
It'll really be interesting to have a conversation with you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So yeah, let's cut to the chase. So for all of you out there, I know there are a lot of questions about the route, about the event, about the logistics around it. So we're going to try and cover as much as we can over the next hour to hour and a half, as much time as we have in our hands, right? Please keep posting your questions. We'll try and take them. I'm not saying we'll do justice to all the questions, but we'll try and, group them together and get them answered as much as we practically can. So let's probably start from the beginning. Let's start from the Expo. So basically the Hyderabad Marathon. There are several unique things about the Hyderabad Marathon that you will realize as we go through this conversation. One thing is the 2-day format, where you have the Expo and then a 5K on a Saturday. Well, the Expo starts from Friday, if I'm not wrong, right, Rajesh?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So the Expo starts from Friday, but then, it's almost like a race weekend, what you see in races abroad, basically. It's a similar concept that the Hyderabad Marathon team, the Hyderabad Runners team, has pioneered. They have a 5K on the Saturday, and then they have the main, marquee events, the 10K, the half, and the full marathons on Sunday. So, Rajesh, take us through the Expo, because the Expo at the Hyderabad Marathon in itself is a unique event. It's not just a running Expo; it's a sports Expo where a whole lot of people, if I may use the term, from the ecosystem come and exhibit and collaborate with athletes from across the country. So what is something unique? It just keeps getting bigger and better every year. What can runners expect this time around?
Yeah. Thank you, Kartik, for the question. It's true that we do have a very unique thing at the Expo. I mean, a lot of it, I would say that goes to the credit of some of my own team members who decided that we should have something like this at the High-Techs. And High-Techs being owned by the government, and for a very long time, it's been one of the most, leading MICE centers in the country. So we have collaboration with High-Techs, wherein High-Techs conducts the Sport Expo. The idea was to create an expo for sports, wellness, and for other related aspects. So Hyderabad runners, we have kind of early decided that as a running group, let's focus on the run and every other thing, and let's give this entire bit to High-Techs for organizing the expo. So we are part of the expo, and so I mean I would say that a lot of work is being done by them in terms of making the expo big and unique every year. So we've had a lot of variations over the years. That is, it was a 3-day expo, then we tried to have other related activities. So but this year, we're going to have roughly around close to 60, 62 or 63 stalls of various running related. It's the wellness, fitness, running related brands on display, from your wellness products, equipment, and from apparel and other related needs of our runners. And in the past, we have had this privilege of having some of those brands which now have gone on to become very big. It can be from Fasten Up, Yoga Bar, which you now see them very big, T10. So we're so happy that all of them have had their beginnings here at the Sport Expo. So this year also we do have quite a few new brands which are coming up, and they're kind of displaying their entire wares. Hopefully in the next week you'll be getting a list of the exhibitors to understand what the runners can look out and what they can do. And so on Friday, we start the expo. It goes on till Saturday evening. Friday, primarily, a lot of the local people come in and collect their entire, kits. Over and above that, on Saturday morning, we have the 5K. So on Saturday, it's typically we get to see a lot of the outstation members come and pick up their bibs. And through the 2 days, there have been a series of activities which some of our members have taken, which includes engagement with various brands which are related to running, engagement with the charities which are being part of Hyderabad Runners Marathon and the Hyderabad Marathon. And over and above that, we do have related, small competitions to keep the runners, interested in the entire thing, what we do. And we are hoping that, the experience only gets better. People come, collect it quickly. Just not about the babe collection, but they get time to spend time all through going through the expo and seeing what's the latest in the industry. So that's
Fantastic.
the thing about the expo, Kartik.
Great. I think that's you've covered a lot of ground there. And I think, yeah, two common themes that I really love that come out of here, and we're going to carry them forward through this discussion, is it's a very volunteer driven initiative, basically, as far as the running part of the Sport Expo is concerned. And it's the big tent, basically, right? It's an ecosystem which has gone on to produce so many so many organizations, basically, which have found their own feet and grown to bigger, have scaled newer heights in the Indian wellness space, if I may use that term. So Sham, you've run 12 editions or so of this race. Have you attended the expo every single time, or have you asked your friends to collect your bib for you sometime?
No, never. I have collected bibs on their behalf, but I have not asked anyone to collect. So I have always attended the expo. I have seen it growing, over a period of time, because I remember the first edition, 11 or 12. It was used to be a small expo, it's grown there and really become big with a lot of stalls and a lot of companies participating in the expo as well. As Rajesh said, some of the companies have grown from there, right? And they've become big. So, yeah, it's a wonderful experience being there, because see, any expo, probably it's not just Hyderabad Marathon, it's also Tata Mumbai Marathon, where, you get a different experience of the expo itself. So your marathon
Mhm.
actually starts from the expo itself, not really
Fantastic.
running next day. You get the feeling of it, and then you really kind of warm it up because you have to run next day. Being
Mhm.
outstations runner always, a day before I pick up, as Rajesh rightly said, we just come a day before and pick it up, and next day we are gearing up. So the tension starts building up, although so many marathons behind, but still, when you look at the stall, you meet the runners, that's a different ball game altogether. And then it starts sinking in that, yes, tomorrow is a big day.
Fantastic.
So it's a great experience, always been there. I think I've never missed any expo of Hyderabad to
Nice,
answer.
very nice, very nice, very nice. So the vibes, as you say, as you rightly say, vibes.
Absolutely.
Krishna, you are a medical expert, but I'm going to, put a out of syllabus question to you.
Yeah.
What goes into because this time, and we'll talk about it a little later, but there's a lot of sustainability which is also at the forefront of the NMDC Hyderabad Marathon 2025. In that context, what is all going into the runner's kit this time around when they go and collect it at the expo?
Yeah. So first, I would like to start by agreeing with Shyam that yes, it is the very excitement and then the vibes, as you said, everything starts at the expo. The moment we walk into the expo, then we are all like geared up and looking at various things. And I also observed that not only runners, but the others who are there also, who just come to the other citizens also just come to see what is there in the expo. because many we know that many sports guys, they set up their stalls there, and I mean discounted prices, so on and so forth. So I have seen that the expo on both the days is almost always occupied and busy, and that kind of gives us a feeling that yes, people are enjoying the this thing and all. And a lot of, as Rajesh mentioned by starting, that a lot of volunteerism goes into this up. And then this year what is happening and what is going on into there was an option whether you choose for is that you in the typically in the race kit we have that cloth bag which is sustainability thing is there, and then you have that bib which has got electronic timing chip attached to it. And if somebody has opted for a t-shirt, yes, t-shirt goes, and of course some promotional things might be there in the race kit. But so race kit is one thing, collecting the bib is the other thing, and then the whole experience of that the expo, and then going there, taking pictures with the your peer runners, and that's all the kind of it's a preamble, or what you say, it's an induction kind of a thing which goes into the entire race.
I really like that word preamble. Actually, I'm going to make a note of it somewhere. I'll use it somewhere else. Yeah. So I think that's a wonderful thing you say, right? It's a fantastic vibe, and it's a congregational space for the community at large, community of runners from across India, and not just runners. Now, like you say, running is now crossing boundaries with things like high rocks coming in. Basically, there's so much of strength and running which are interacting finally, which is a great space to see. So I think I'm expecting this time around there's going to be a lot of strength and conditioning friends also who are going to be around at the expo. And I like the way I like the fact that you made a mention of the opt-in and opt-out for the t-shirt. That's one of the really good sustainable measures that the Hyderabad runners have taken up. We'll talk about sustainability a little later, but yeah, that's one thing that I just wanted to highlight here. So yeah, with the expo out of the way, let's kind of probably cut the chase and directly get into the some brief numbers about the race, and then we go on to the route. How are the registration numbers looking this time around, Rajesh? I mean, I see a lot of excitement here in my city, in Bangalore, basically, right? And a lot of people who've signed up, a lot of repeat runners, a lot of new runners. But by and large, how do the registration numbers this time around look?
Yeah, luckily we have always grown ever since its inception, some years as high as 15%, 20%. So we do grow in a very sustainable way. Probably the only year where it was less was, when we came back after COVID due to restrictions, and for the K, it was in 2021 that we had less people. But this year again, we have touched an all-time high of 28,000 registrations across all the four categories. That's the marathon, half marathon, 10K, and the 5K. So the 5K, we have close to around 9,000 registrations. So the race will be held on the Saturday. 10K is close to around 9,000, around 10,000. Then for the half marathon, around close to 7,000. And then we have an additional 1,800, close to 1,800, 1,900 registrations. We're close to probably 2,000 full marathon registrations, the marathon registrations which we have. So that comes in close to around 28,000, which we have in terms of registrations. Yes, we would like the full and the half marathon to get bigger in terms of numbers. So that will really make the marathon what it is. And we are expecting this year that we'll have, while registrations are good to kind of target, we are hoping that we'll have close to around 21,000 finishers this year
Wow.
amongst all
Wow.
the categories. So we're just now focusing on the shift to finishers. The fact that we have closed the registration 75 days in advance was for people to train and come here, well prepared. That's another reason that we have been kind of working on. And instead of just people jumping onto the bandwagon in the last minute, and if they're not trained, it would not be a good thing. I know the 5K is all fun, but the 10, 21, and 42, especially the 21 and 42, we would like people to train and come in. So that's how and we have, of course, while we'd like our event to be as much a national and if not a global event, we have close to around 3,000 participants, mostly in the half and the full, or it'll be a little bit more, probably around 3,500. I wouldn't know, I wouldn't be able to tell you the exact numbers, or 3,500 plus. who are coming from outstation, so which is very good, So that's something interesting that we have so many people coming participating for the marathon and half marathon from out of station. But primarily the 5K and 10K would be local. But we've also seen in the past that many people who are coming from out of station have come in a bit early, and sometimes their family members also participate in the 10K, which is also good. So
Right.
this is how the registrations look at this for this year.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, 21,000 finishers is a staggering number. I
And
mean,
roughly the women's bit is roughly close to 24% of the registrations come to women,
okay.
come from women. And we hopefully would somehow try to get it to 35% in the next few years, which would, kind of help the, women encouragement, women participation in the event.
Yeah, these are very, very healthy numbers. And, as you say, year on year, the numbers only seem to be improving qualitatively more so than quantitatively, which is very important for a race of the magnitude of the NMDC Hyderabad Marathon. There are always some late Latifs who come in late. You said registrations close 75 days before. If somebody comes in like that, are there any avenues still for registrations, or registrations are closed per se?
No, we had some charity registrations go on till probably, I would say mid-July. I mean, those registrations also, in the sense that they were sold by the charities by around June 25th, 26th. And then, we had the charity, our original cutoff for the general was around June the 7th or the 8th. And then till 22nd, we gave the charity window. And, they were kind of registering up to probably July 10th or so. Afterwards, we have kind of closed the registrations completely. And now there is no spot registration. We would not encourage anybody to come for any spot registrations or any other thing. It's both organizers' wish that we don't get pulled up for the last minute for any additional thing. We have stopped it. We would like to make it official that there are no more registrations available, and we would request people not to come and ask us at the expo or any other time for registrations.
Fantastic. Coming from a race director, that's a very, very responsible statement. And thank you so much for putting it out in no uncertain terms. Thank you.
Thank you, Kartik.
Yeah. Krishna, I just wanted to kind of pivot to you on this. See, like Rajesh mentioned, there are four categories. There's the 5K, which happens on a Saturday, and then there's the 10K, which starts from Hightex and then, finishes at Gachibowli, and then you have the half and the full again. So basically what I'm trying to say out here is different race categories, different start times, different start points. They all finish at one place. In one case, 5K, it is, well, self-contained in Hightex. What are the kind of now I'm picking on your medical brains. What are the kind of challenges that you as the medical director have to face in an event of this magnitude? 21,000 finishers is a huge number, is a staggering number. What are the kind of challenges, and how well are you geared up for that? How well is the medical team at the Hyderabad Marathon geared up for the challenges that lie ahead of you? Krishna, that was for you.
Krishna,
Okay, we probably lost him. Okay, we'll just wait for him to connect back. So Shyam, I'm just going to kind of pivot to you in the meanwhile.
Thank you, Kartik.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we have Krishna back. Sorry, go ahead, Krishna.
Yeah. So it is a very, my heartbeat is rising, palpitations. I can perceive my own heartbeat. The reason is like it is a very big question, and in fact, if you sit calmly and think, 21,000 people coming and finishing in one place happen in any other event, and all of them in a particular environment and particular distance and coming. So what happens here, what happened this year and every year is that we have got a very well, like from different not only the medical team but also the volunteers team, the everybody come together, and then we plan as to what happened last year. Yeah, so what happened last year and what can happen now? So can I take this question later? My internet connection seems to be weak. I will set up
Sure, I think we
another one, and then
sure.
I'll take
Krishna,
this question.
Krishna, do you want to
Please
just
can
log out once
ask
and
this
rejoin
question.
so that it might help you come back to a better connection, please? Want
Yeah,
to
I
just
think
try once?
he's just planning to do that.
Yes,
I
yes,
guess
I'll do
he's
that.
just going off and then coming back. So in the meanwhile, Shyam, I'm going to kind of pivot to you. Uh, you know, Rajesh gave us these numbers basically. So, and you've run this over multiple editions actually, right? So, how have you seen this race grow in terms of participation from a runner's standpoint? How has this journey been for you basically? Every time you toe the line, how has this journey been
Yeah.
for you?
Correct, correct. In fact, I've seen it in so many variations, because I remember the first time when I did it, uh, we were a handful of, I guess, full marathoners probably, because after a point when 21 kind of gets separated from 42, right?
Yeah,
You go through that was the earlier route. I'm talking of the initial route. You used to go through that high-tech city financial district, used to pass there. And that's when, as soon as you used to take a left and half marathoners used to go straight, that's where suddenly you realize there's one, maybe a 500-meter ahead, the other guy behind you, maybe 400-meter behind you. So this was the kind of situation that time, initial years I'm talking about. And then we used to pass through some countryside kind of a village environment and then get into the university for 4 5 kilometers and then get back to the elevated road. So there has been a lot of change. Initially, of course, I found it much tougher. Why? Because route is, of course, Hyderabad full marathon is supposed to be the most challenging in the country. I would
right,
clearly state that with my experience over so many cities in Mumbai, in India. But over a period of time, what essentially I felt that they have always tried to, make the route much better for the
Mhm.
runners.
Mhm.
And the best thing which I liked, which of course kept us going, was I guess a lot of marathons, and I don't have any hesitation in saying that a lot of marathons conducted in the country have copied Hyderabad in terms of their volunteering.
Absolutely.
Because that's the first thing what I noted. That's why I really love that marathon, irrespective of whatever. I may be slightly less trained, but I still see to it I go to that marathon. Why? Because the entire fanfare, the kind of motivation, the way they kind of groom their volunteers to set the entire pace rolling in the entire route, and having that entire 42-kilometer journey right throughout the city and end at a point is itself incredible. So for me, it's although tough, but nevertheless, you have a lot of players on the road who really support you, cheer you, and make your journey much easier and comfortable. And the routes, of course, that then second time we had a route where again we went through financial district, we took a U-turn back, came back to the high road, and
Right.
went the other way. And now, of course, there's another route where the 10 and the 21 take a left, and you are going ahead towards the university gate on the main road. So you slightly feel lonely, but nevertheless, you still have now you as Rajesh said, 1,800 to 2,000 runners. So that's itself a significant number. So it's not that you'll feel very lonely, but nevertheless, inside the university, you do find a bit lonelier than comparatively to what you were finding with when you were looking at 21s and 10s running around with you.
Right.
So overall, a great transition for a
Right.
period of time. Right. And as it's growing, of course, the race organizers are also putting in their heads their efforts to kind make things more comfortable for all of us, right? And I'm sure it's going to grow leaps and bounds ahead. So great experience over a period of time. All the
Fantastic.
additions.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Kartik,
So,
Kartik, I would
yeah,
like to
yeah.
just congratulate and thank Shyam because not many people from our own group remember these changes or have or even have known that these have been done. And
Thanks,
it's so kind
Rajesh.
of surprising for us that somebody, I know running a full marathon is tough and things like that, but to remember them so distinctly in terms of how they kind of evolved. And our route is also kind of evolution of the new Hyderabad, what you've seen and everything. So, which is interesting. So, Shyam, I would like to thank you for recapping this so well and making it known to so many other people as to the changes which we have gone through. Thanks a lot, Shyam.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Time to confer a legend of Hyderabad, decree to Shyam, I guess.
Yes, yes, yes.
Shyam, I'm gonna put a quick question to you.
Yeah.
Since building on what Rajesh said, and then we'll go back to Krishna. Of all the routes you've done, which has been your favorite route, basically? And I totally take. I really liked what Rajesh said. The route, the Hyderabad Marathon route, is a reflection of the aspirations of the city called Hyderabad, which is slowly becoming the economic powerhouse of India. So yeah, that part aside, what is your which is your favorite route so far of all the editions you've run?
You're talking about different cities or you're talking about
No, no,
Hyderabad?
Hyderabad of all the routes you've run, you spoke about different variations in the route side, right? So if
Okay.
Rajesh came back to you tomorrow and said, Sham, this year, you decide which route. You've done 3 routes. You want to do the OG, you want to do the something in between COVID time thing where you went to the financial district and came back, or you want to do the new route. You decide this time. What would be your
Yeah.
answer?
Among them, I think, as I said earlier, Kartik, I feel the last route, the one which I did last year and last year, these seem to be much better route because I guess these last 2 years, what the changes have been made, is much better. Although, of course, you are doing around 11 odd kilometers in the university itself, last 11
Mhm,
kilometers possibly, but
mhm,
it's still good because it's little shady. Number
mhm,
one, because it's you are kind of in some kind of shaded position rather than getting exposed on the road, because the
mhm.
last 11, 12 kilometers for a full marathoners are always challenging, so
Right.
if you are getting some shades and you have a lot of stations there, aid stations, so that kind of helps you towards there. So even if you have to take walk breaks, you are in a better environment, shaded, and you can still see a lot of runners around, because it's a limited area, right? You're not
Mhm.
running in a open road where there may be some runners much ahead of you, some behind you, and then you are again lonely. So here you have certain people, pacers and runners all across, somewhere. So I feel the last route what I did last 2 years, I think that makes more sense among all. Of course,
Right.
probably 3 years later we may find a better route. You never know. So I think organizers are putting their head over there and they may find something even better. And that time we may say, okay, this is better now. So it's
Yeah,
always
sure.
the evolution, as Rajesh rightly said. So we
Absolutely.
currently this is best. Let's see what happens in future.
Nice,
We're
nice.
continuing the current route, Shyam and Kartik and the others, the general audience, that we would be continuing that unless until we really find some excellent alternate option, or we have something better that comes. But we would like to finish in the Gachibowli Stadium so that it's easier and it's a large space for people to go around. So that looks like we invariably we have to go through the university.
Lovely.
Right.
So, and that's a great segue point where, I'd also like to say that we'd be putting out, we at Geeks on Feet, along with Hyderabad Runners, would be putting out the detailed route preview where we cover every section. We've kind of broken it down into segments which you can really relate to, right? We've been doing this year on year, and it's no different this year. Only this year we've put in a lot of other quirky trivia, which, because we believe that it's not just about running a marathon or running a half marathon and the timing. Of course, all that is an indelible part of it, but also to experience the city. Like Rajesh said, this year Hyderabad to next year Hyderabad, there are changes, however subtle they might be, basically. So we kind of, want you to take in the sounds and sights that Hyderabad as a city has to offer on this particular route. So this time around, what is different in our route preview is the kind of small trivias that we've put in. So we'll be publishing that soon. I know runners benefit a lot from that. They come. The biggest sense of accomplishment for us is when at the finish line somebody who I don't even know comes and says, "Hey, we read that route review and it really helped us." Actually, that's nothing gives us a PB to me does not give me the kind of sense of fulfillment that gives me basically, right? That's our way of giving back to the community. So with that, having said that, Krishna, I'm coming back to you. 21,000 finishers, 3 different points, the medical team, the medical challenges.
Yeah. So I think now I'm clear, Kartik.
Yes.
So yeah. So when yeah. So when as you are mentioning the numbers, that listening to that number and imagining those things, my heart rate, the basal heart rate increases, the palpitations set in. So we were expecting all this. So as I was mentioning, I would like to share a few things like as a medical lead, what I'm interested in when I go to the marathon core committee meetings is as long as the registrations are open, my eye will be only on one thing. What are the numbers? How many number of runners are getting registered into which category? And then what I also do is that what is the final effect of final result of whatever we do? It is a combination. It's a teamwork. It's everybody in the team helps. And I take advices from the race director, from the past race directors, and our own previous medical directors, and everybody. So whenever I meet them, I just talk only about one thing. So what is that we have to do, or what is that the plan, how to go about these things? And when we talk about the numbers, and we also look at the kind of runners who are getting registered, and then slowly we start off escalating the things like what are the problems that we can expect and what kind of injuries are likely to happen, and then the final medical plan along the route, because we have run that route also, we know which is the toughest part, where is the elevation, and at what time of the race we expect runners to feel exhausted, or what time of the race they may need a medical help like a cramp, or somebody needs a physiotherapy on the route. So all these things we put into one perspective, and the inputs are given from different teams. So there are runners in the very good people. We have got a very good camaraderie among the Hyderabad runners, the organizing team, the core committee, where all the inputs, whatever I want, I take from them. I kind of get mentored by Rajesh, by Dr. Madhu, by Prashant, by the office bearers, and all these people keep giving me ideas. And then we probably think that this could be the best for this time around. And then we discuss this with our medical partners. So because the medical partners and the runners should be on the same page, otherwise these things they may go wrong anywhere. And then the medical partner, this time it's Apollo Hospital, they may not be the same as last year, and they may understand or they may not understand our perspective. So it is our duty to make them understand, and also we should be convinced that they understood what is the medical help which is required along the route, and what is the kind of the strategic placement of ambulances. Luckily for Hyderabad Marathon, the important the plus point for us is that it is from point A to point B. So we are not
Right.
coming back to this place. So the medical team and then the ambulances also can keep moving along with the runners, the last runner, and then the medical station behind can be closed. So that way we are actually planning it very meticulously so that everything can be addressed, even the whatever in case some eventuality happens, the immediate attention can be made. And for Hyderabad, the other thing is that as we are running through the city, the medical partner hospital is in one place. We can always, in case of emergency, we can always take the help of any other person on the route also. So that is
Okay.
one thing which goes on in our mind when we are planning. And as you said, looking at the numbers and being a doctor and imagining as to what things can go wrong, it really gives us sleepless nights, if especially 2 days before the marathon and things like that. And we always hope and pray that nothing major should happen. Having said that, we kind of be prepared. We are prepared for whatever I think the medical support which could be required. So the number of stations along the route, and number of ambulances, and the number of people on the motorbikes, everything has been planned, and the Apollo Hospital is in agreement with our plan, and we are in agreement with their plan as to what should be constituted in each of these medical stations along the route. So for full marathon, what should be in addition, for half marathon, what should be there, And as you said, there is a place where the 10K and the 21K, both of them meet
Right.
in one place. So what
Right.
can happen there, and things like that. So we have got a good plan, and I think the runners, whoever are viewing our this live stream today, you can rest assured that the whatever the medical planning needs to be done, it has been taken care of. And I sincerely hope that none of you will require that.
Fantastic. And where is the medical race director on race day, basically?
Yeah. Yeah, correct. So this is very important thing, because the start area, there are two start areas on the race day. Of course, on the 5K
Right.
day, it is in one place, so all of us
Right.
will be there only. On the race day, that is the 10K day and the 10, 21 and full marathon day. So there are two start points. So at each start point, there will be the medical station, and at the time of flag off, medical director need not be there. There is also one of our colleague, Dr. Ashwin, who is also working closely with us. So he or Dr. Madhu will be there in the start area, and I will typically be there at the finish area. Finish area is where we establish the base camp.
Right.
There is a
Right.
base camp, and in between the IKEA junction, if you see, that is where there is an island which is made. That is
Right.
where all the people 10K and then the half marathon, everybody meet there, and it is that area. So there are some areas where we identified the emergency medical team doctors will be there along with the ambulance. So there
Okay.
is, so we have medical partner is Apollo. So Apollo
Mhm.
Medical, they have about deployed about 12 doctors for the marathon day,
Mhm.
emergency medicine doctors. So some of
Fantastic.
them will be stationed in the areas where the lot of congestion is there, especially the IKEA circle and the Gachibowli flyover area, where we expect runners to experience these things. So they are there. In
Mhm.
addition to all these things, the people who are there on the route, along the route team, the volunteers and the volunteers lead, all of them have been trained with basic life support.
Okay.
BLS
Fantastic.
BLS course is the one. So we did it last year also. We did it this year. Last year, actually, we trained about 84 people in 3 different sessions, along with our medical partner last year. This year, with our medical partner Apollo Hospital, we trained about 48 of them attended. And I think some of them, many of them are newbies. So one certification is valid for 2 years. So this year,
Okay.
so 80 plus 40, you have about 120 to 130 volunteers who are
Mhm.
our own runner
Mhm.
volunteers have been trained in this basic life support. So this gives us an additional kind of workforce on the route.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So that's what we have done. And the medical, so answer to your question, medical director is stationed in the stadium at the finish area where we have the base camp. And
Okay.
there is a command control center and all those things which we'll be publishing.
Kartik, I would
Beautiful.
like to add, he's
Yep.
omnipresent. Don't worry. He's omnipresent.
It was more in jest that I asked the question, but the doctor, really
We only wish we could clone them, but then he's omnipresent.
not very far away. That day is also not very far away. But yeah, I think this is really reassuring. I mean, this sheer support of medically trained people on the course ensures that if runners over here is that there is enough and ample medical support on the course, so you don't really need to worry about it, right? And this is something what I really liked is it's a very course specific thing that Dr. Krishna Mohan and his team have worked on, and something that keeps getting refined over and over again, right? So okay, with these things out of the way, let's kind of cut to the chase. Let's go to the route. So Arvind, can you just share the route? We'll just have a brief overview of the route. I have a couple of questions about the route as well. So maybe yeah, let's first start with the question. So one thing, Rajesh, most of it has been covered by Shyam, but what kind of led, as we are flashing the route, I want to ask you this question. Uh, how did you conceptualize this route? I mean, I'm just going a little back in history, basically. What prompted this Hyderabad finish, Hyderabad start, Cyberabad finish kind of course, basically?
Yeah, thanks, Kartik, for asking this question. Many people ask us whether is this design or is this the default, or I mean, to be frank, it's multiple factors. The first thing which when we were looking at the route,
Right.
um, we were looking at how routes are done world across, point to point, out and back. Was there any
Mm.
kind of rational. So it definitely, when we looked at different routes, it evolved due to probably various circumstances in the growth of the event, the nature and the change of the city, like so many interesting things. So then when we kind of realized this, what we had an event in 2008 and 9 along with 10K Foundation where the marathon started at the KBR Park. It went around Jubilee Hills to High Tech City, and then it went into the stadium again through the university. So in
Mhm.
2010, we didn't have the event. In 2011, when Hyderabad Runners decided to do it on our own, so that was a template which we wanted. But then we had to take into consideration the 21 and 42 distance. And it turned out to be the 21 was more or less equivalent when it came from Hussain Sagar, which is the lowest point of the city and probably one of the most important landmarks of the city. And
Mhm.
finish area was in Gachibowli. So I still remember the joint CP of police who told us, like, you know, you need to do point to point. If you think that many of the routes worldwide are, point to point, and he also felt like as the last runner keeps moving, it'll be
Mhm.
easy for the traffic to open up. And we had to take into those considerations also in the city that there's only so much you can kind of block it. So I keep telling runners are very rare.
Mhm.
So we need reservations. We need a lot of things. Sometimes we are rarer than some of the tribes in the country because it's so less. So, but the fact that the police have agreed to give us that was a very good thing. So that was the first thing that it came through from the police that we should start from here and finish here. The reason for choosing those two start points are, I am sure that even if the event grows to a size of 40,000 or 40,000 people, these
Mhm.
two places will be able to accommodate those runners over a period of time. At one single time, no, but people coming and going, it's always there. So that's how we kind of came in with the thing that it starts from here and it goes into another point. Over a period
Mhm.
of time, many a time, we did think through like 21 aid stations, the logistics, everything is very
Mhm.
difficult. But then now
Mhm.
we have got used to it, and many a runner have told me that don't ever change the route. We come back for that. So that's something good. And like I still, there is this discussion I've had with so many race directors on how their different routes have come in. I know Valencia race director told that the first 10 to 12 years, they used
Mhm.
to organize
Mhm.
it outside the city. And once the
Aha.
event became big, the city was happy to get them in. So that's how
Oh,
it
wow.
happened. In the case of New York, the first 5, 6 years, it was all in Central Park. And once it
Aha.
grew, they took it outside Central Park. And after some time, the race organizers were very strong and brave enough to have an agreement with the five boroughs that will have the race run through the five boroughs. So different routes have had a different kind of history behind it in the way they've started it.
Right.
So in our case, this is what it is. It was a mix and match of factors of distance, police support, not inconveniencing the public, and also the carriageway and the start and the finish areas ability to carry the number of runners. So even if I
Mhm.
get to 12 to 15,000 runners between the full and the half marathon after some time, I still will be able to manage this route because there is enough space and everything. So I mean, I think in a way, I would say that the outlook was futuristic, and we do realize that we have been able to manage this luckily with the growth of the event, the city, everything. We are very, very lucky that we could keep our start and the finish in the same place in all the 14 editions. And thanks to the city authorities, the police, the municipal corporation, and everybody who has done it. Because I know in India how many times
Mhm.
organizers have had to change the start or finish, and it's been very difficult, for others. And
Right. Yeah, yeah. That I think that's a very. I never knew there's so much of thought process that goes into conceptualizing a route. For us, it's just a point-to-point course, but you know, incredible insights from your side. Which kind of brings me to you, Sham. I think we have a question, an audience question that I know it's yeah, it's basically from a runner's perspective. how do you pace yourself across segments in Hyderabad? Maybe if you could give a high level view. Of course, we're covering all this in much more detail in our detailed route preview that we're going to publish. But a bird's eye view, let's say marathon or half marathon. How do you kind of pace yourself on a route like Hyderabad? Should it be by
Right. So,
effort? Should it be by what your watch says? How do you go about it?
right. Thanks for asking that question, Kartik. It's actually a good question, especially for people who are probably novice and starting new, So,
Mhm.
so people who have done it before, of course, they have more experience of that route, and and with marathon experience, they know how to pace themselves well. But nevertheless, so first of all, if at all you have a target in your mind, right? You decide maybe I'll finish in 5 hours. If your goal is 5 hours, then what kind of runner you are, you also need to decide. Are you probably, a lot of people are negative split guys, positive split guys, or even split guys, it depends on how you kind of take it. You're comfortable doing the first half slow and then second half faster. But in Hyderabad, there is a caution, right? So if at all you are still thinking about a negative split, my suggestion would be, if you've not had that kind of experience of having a negative split in Hyderabad, possibly don't try it now. Okay, right? So it's better that they really have an even split kind of strategy. So you kind of maintain the pace throughout what you're trying to. You try to maintain. I'm not saying that that will hold well till the 42nd kilometer. You can still go slower later on. But to buffer that, I would not really advise somebody who's starting new to kind of speed up, because they will have the flat terrain of Hussain Sagar, around Hussain Sagar, early morning, without the sunlight coming out. So and all the runners enthusiastic, energetic. So the speed really goes up. So that's where you really have to pace yourself well. So possibly, if at all, my strategies have always been that if I'm really a 6 hours, 30 minutes runner, right, I would probably kind of hold it to at that moment, maybe 6:35, 6:40, is something I'll try to pace myself around. And then look at the mid segment, possibly after you finish that, and when you will have more runners around you and you still have that energy. So maybe go back to 6:25, 6:30, and over a period of time then maintain a pace of something like 6:45, 6:40, till you still have energy. If you have trained well, of course you will have energy towards the end also to finish at that particular speed. But
Mhm.
if at all you get slower, you probably get at a pace of 7 towards the end, and then you realize, okay, now it's getting difficult. The last 7 kilometers, especially after
Mhm.
35, you kind of
Mhm.
start slowing down,
So
right? so
basically,
so
within the university is what you're talking about.
within the university. So
Okay.
probably you have already put in something like a 34, 35 at that moment. And then the last seven may be becoming a bit challenging because of weather, because of some cramps coming in for some people and things like that. So that's when you kind of become slow. So you kind of factor in that part only after the initial 7, 8, 9 kilometers, because first 8, 9 kilometers, rather, I would say you reach back to the 21st kilometer starting point, right? It's
Yes.
it's it's
Yes.
the circle of 9 kilometers. And then possibly till then you pace yourself well, as in you are not really accelerating yourself much. And that's when you have a lot of runners, so you are even more energetic. So your pace will, what I have noted over a period of time, goes higher, as in you start becoming faster in that
Mhm.
next 5, 7, 8 kilometers, till the time you hit the second flyover. After
Right.
the small flyover, when the 21 starts, you have a smaller flyover, and then after that, you have a bigger one coming up. After, I think, at that junction of Somajgudi Road and things like
Yes. Yes.
Rajbhavan Road,
Yes.
whatever that
Yes.
is,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
So till then, you are a little faster, and
Mhm.
that's when you will slow down naturally over the second flyover. And
Right.
that's when, so that pace which you have moderated initially and you have been faster will average out when you become little slower on the second flyovers. So that's been my strategy over a period of time, and then towards the end, you kind of maintain that pace and maybe become a little slower, but you try to end up at the goal, what you're looking at. Maybe if it's a 5 or a 4, depending on whatever your goal is, and you pace accordingly and go through that. So my strategy to answer your question would be initially be a little cautious, see how it's going because it's a long day and a long race, right? And it's a tough terrain. So you have to kind of measure yourself well. Don't go full out and get charged and get influenced by people running around, and then they may have their own strategies. So that's fine. But you
Right.
maintain your strategy, pace yourself well. You have few days. So if you plan your race, you will have a great experience. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, if you
Fantastic.
kind of get very aggressive and you're not very experienced there, then there is a chance that Dr. Krishna Mohan will be will be
We'll have
there
a long day.
all around.
Well,
So
we fingers crossed that doesn't happen, but yes,
yeah,
yes. I
absolutely,
think
absolutely.
some points are worth mentioning here. So, Arvind, if you could go back to the initial part of the map, right? I think the first 9 kilometers is where a lot of people. Of course, that's for the marathoners. The half marathoners don't need to worry about it, right? Basically, the first 9 kilometers, there's every chance you'll get excited. It's flat. There are a lot of landmarks around that area. We've kind of made a mention of those landmarks in the route review as well. And you're on fresh legs, wonderful weather, the Hussain Sagar, the Buddha, in all his sereneness in the middle, basically. And now Dr. Ambedkar also there. Basically, you just tend to overdo it here. That's what Shyam was. I'm just kind of trying to paraphrase what Shyam said. You kind of lose or win the race over here. I mean, not in the sense of losing or winning, but whatever you have planned for, you can kind of lose it over here. So what Sham is saying is that if you can be conservative around this, I mean, conservative again doesn't mean being very slow, but if you can hold your horses here, you can really do well in the second part of the race. And from about, let's say, between that 9 and 10 kilometer marks that we are flashing is where the half marathon starts. So essentially from there till about the entry of the Gachibowli Stadium, the half and the full marathon routes coincide. I mean, they converge, right? So that's what Sham was saying, that you have company in that segment. So the faster half marathoners might be crossing the full marathoners. So there's a lot of runners around for you to look around, right? And as you can see, that segment that he spoke about from about the Somajiguda circle, when you get onto the Panchakutta flyover and then go all the way till about KBR Park, that is one hell of a segment. That is what really makes. Rajesh spoke about Hussain Sagar being the lowest point. I think that KBR, where you take the turn right in front of the KBR gate, is probably the highest point in the race, basically, right?
Correct.
So many a seasoned runner, in fact, I would even go on to say a lot of this is what attracts a lot of people back to Hyderabad. Also, it's a very unique challenge from that Panchakutta, from where the Panchakutta flyover starts right up to KBR Park. That is a place where you really need to kind of strategize. It's a very strategic course. I wouldn't say tough course or stuff like that. It's a very strategic course. So you'll have to pace yourself smartly, is what Shyam is kind of saying. Because regardless of whether you're running the half or the full, to reiterate what Rajesh said, you're starting from the lowest point, which is the Hussain Sagar, and almost ending at, if not the highest point, a very high point, which is the Gachibowli Stadium. So the pacing has to be a very strategic and smart effort. We have pace calculators that we are also offering. So, and we're also looking at whether we can do some pace charts for the runners, right? So, depending on what your goals are, I think you should consult those pace calculators and race yourself strategically. And again, to reiterate what Shyam says, Hyderabad, based on our research, is not a negative splits race. So don't try to be a hero on this course. The course can really humble the strongest of runners, basically, right? So space yourself smartly is the message that we are bringing out. Avik, sorry, Dr. Krishna, Avik had,
Kartik,
yeah,
one,
yeah,
one,
please,
one,
Rajesh,
one
chime
more
in.
thing I just would like to add.
Yeah,
Amongst the many things as to the design of the course, remember that it's the Deccan Plateau. It's older than
right.
the Himalayas. It's close to 250 crore years. So
Older
let's
than the
not.
Himalayas?
Yes, it's older than the
Oh,
Himalayas. The Deccan
wow.
Plateau is older than the Himalayas.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
so that's the thing. And asking me to make too many changes is like asking me to remove humidity from Mumbai or from Chennai or anything like that. So there's a nature and natural aspects to the entire course too.
Right, right. That's an interesting piece of trivia. I never knew that the Deccan Plateau is older than the Himalaya. So the route is steeped in history also in that case. It's not just the cultural and the, cosmopolitan aspects of the route, but a historical perspective to the route as well, basically.
That's right.
Right, wonderful. So, Dr. Krishna, Avik asks, is there a dedicated medical helpline? And I think that's a great question. Is there a
Yeah.
dedicated medical helpline for runners who may find the going tough on the course, basically?
Yes, Kartik. Avik always asks very, very important and very good questions. So yes, Avik and all the runners, yes, whoever is watching, yes, there is a helpline number which will be published on the race manual, which will be given to you, and you will be able to see that it will be very obvious.
Okay, fantastic. So it'll be there in the race manual, and it'll also be in the. I'm assuming it'll be there in the kit as well, basically, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. There's a follow-up question to this, and maybe you or maybe you or Rajesh, anybody can take this question. Why August of all the months for the Hyderabad Marathon? This is a question that has always kept me curious as to what is so special about August.
Kartik, the same question I asked Rajesh initially. Initially, when me and Rajesh were running, I asked the question, why did you choose August? Why not October or November? And Rajesh has got
Exactly.
a wonderful, let us listen from him.
No. Yeah,
Rajesh, over to you.
yeah, again, it's the fact that in 2008, when we wanted to organize a marathon, first in the 10K Foundation, we deliberately chose August because if you remove we looked at the weather charts for close to 70 years data available.
70 years?
That's right. So if you remove the cold months of December, January, and probably middle of November and February, Hyderabad has got one of the best weathers. Thanks to the thing, it's just at the end of monsoon. So we took the thing at end of the monsoon kind of thing where the weather is very good. Except for 2014, which was extremely hot and unfortunate. A lot of the times, start weathers have been anything between 20 to 22 degrees for a weather like this, and a finish weathers have been anything between 28 and 29, with
Mhm,
sometimes humidity ranging from 40-50% to we've had instances of 75% also.
mhm,
So if you look at India at that point of time, probably except Bangalore, there's
mhm,
no other city which has got that kind of weather. And we felt like this being holding the marathon during this period is like the opening marathon of the marathon season in the country. And now
mhm,
many people do remember that this is the first marathon of the season. It
mhm.
goes on and then finishes with Mumbai and then with NEB now in Delhi. So
Right.
that's one of the important reasons. The second thing which we also considered, which was very important, was the fact that it's just the beginning of the festival season. So with this, so let this also be a festival before the Ganesh Chaturthi and all others. So the rest of India it starts off. So we also have an agreement with the civic authorities that if the Ganesh Chaturthi falls in the last week, as we are doing this year,
Mhm.
instead of the last Sunday, we are doing it in the penultimate Sunday,
Ah,
which is very good. So we have been lucky that way also that the Ganesh Chaturthi is as big in Mumbai or anything in Hyderabad. So we have it the penultimate weekend. We looked at this calendar for the next 30 years.
uh-huh.
Same case with Ramzan. So the first year we had Ramzan one day after our event. So it's going to take another 30 years for Ramzan to come back at that point of time. So there's no clash of any festival around that period. The other reasons also include, if you look from a perspective of corporates, the families. So June is when the schools start, and then people have settled in. They give them time; they can actually start preparing and be part of it. For the corporates, it's the second quarter, which is still okay. First quarter
Right,
is still the third and fourth quarters. Third quarter they're preparing with the fourth quarter. So
right.
we looked at all these aspects. So there's one challenge which we always have, the Independence Day
Mhm,
thing. But we realized that once the Independence Day all goes off well, there's been no problem. And otherwise, the heightened security at that period has helped the event also make it more safer. From
mhm,
a runner perspective, we were questioned when Boston had a blast.
mhm,
What would you guys do? Then we just kind of looked at it, and we have been touch wood. So it's like multiple reasons like this that we have had the event around that time. And trust me that We have been lucky on the weather, participation, support from the civic authorities, everything. So it's important that any race organizer takes into consideration all these factors when they're planning out a race.
Brilliant. And it's really nice. And like you say, there's a lot of hand on hand coordination. Like, the Hyderabad police and the civic authorities seem to be very cooperative and very, very mature. I mean, for them to see Boston and say, come back and say, hey, how can we prepare if something like that, God forbid, happens over here, right? To work out contingency measures. And you made another mention where you said that they were the guys who said let's have a point to point course because we can keep clearing the traffic out
That's
accordingly, right? So I think that's also a key ingredient in the year to year successful conduct of the Hyderabad Marathon per se, basically, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Brilliant.
and
Wonderful.
thanks to all the people who supported us, the believed as the sponsor, the volunteers, the team members, everybody,
Right.
they have really never told us that why. And so once we kind of reasoned this out with them, all have been very supportive of this entire thing, effort of what we do.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant. So there's another question: where to get pace calculators? Okay, Arvind is the guy who should be answering that. Arvind from Geeks on Feed. But yeah, we will be putting out those pace calculators along with our route preview, so you can really use those pace calculators. And those pace calculators are again customized for the Hyderabad Marathon course, right? So accordingly, based on what your targets are, they will churn out the numbers. And again, like we said, there's an option of positive and negative split, so you can play around with that calculators to reach those final numbers, basically.
Amazing effort from the Geeks on Feed team on this that has helped. We've always given splits on to the members, but I
Right.
think over the last few years, the efforts put in by your team, analyzing the results, analyzing the course, and also kind of being able to tweak those things around. They have made your pace calculators very very reliable, and thanks to you guys for really putting in this effort for us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure actually. So Sham, that kind of brings me back to you. What are some of the common pitfalls that runners, and you said newbies, you covered some aspect of this, but I just want to kind of dwell on this further. It's not just newbies, but even probably the seasoned runners who are repeat performers who come back and do. So what are some of the common pitfalls, or let's say what are some of the common pitfalls that you have committed over the last 12 editions that you would not be looking at committing this time around?
Right. So to start with, of course, the pace thing, which over last couple of years, I've really realized that, as I mentioned earlier, if you pace yourself, you will be happy in the end, right? Number one. Number two is, if at all you kind of, you anticipate that the weather is not going to be great, right? So anticipate that and then try to kind of calculate and probably make your strategy. So if you're doing that, you're probably keeping that in mind that yes, weather can play bad, but am I ready to gear that? So accordingly, you will also pace, you will kind of, if at all you have a walk break strategy in between and do that. As rightly said by Rajesh, 2014, I remember I was a pacer in Hyderabad Marathon. And the weather was not playing too good that year, right? So we realized that there was a challenge. In fact, a lot of these, I think that's the time probably some of our comrades runner from Mumbai also came down and became pacer, like Pratik Desai, and I think Hyderabad runner Devyani was there. He was one of the pacer. So we were quite a few of us who were pacers that time, and I remember that the weather really played wicked that day, and we didn't have a good time again, because of being less experienced by then. It was not that kind of experience which we had, which we about full marathons and how to anticipate bad weather. So if we are taking number one weather into consideration that it could play wicked, we will be strategizing. We can get slow initially. So first thing first is, first half you should be conservative overall, and the
Mhm.
next half, if you have that energy, you have the bandwidth, you go ahead. You possibly maintain your pace or whatever you have strategized. So try to be little conservative. I'm not saying go absolutely slow, as you rightly mentioned earlier, but yes, you be a little bit conservative in the initial first half. Of course, you will have a lot of runners around you, so you tend to get faster, but you have to keep checking your pace. I think that's the key, possibly to really look at. Pitfall per se, I would say it's all about training, Kartik.
Mhm.
So, how well have you really trained over a period of time? Have you really put in that kind of mileages? Uh, See, some of the runners could possibly manage that with lesser mileage. Agreed, because of their experience. But that's not the strategy anyone and everyone should adopt. Important thing is you have to kind of put, especially a race like Hyderabad, you really need to be well prepared. Because I know a lot of runners are coming with me this time from Mumbai. So
Mhm.
the kind of mileages they are putting in. Possibly
Mhm.
I'm at times feeling jittery because I'm not able, I'm traveling quite a bit, and because of this, my mileages are less. But these guys are really putting in that effort, the long runs on Saturday, Sunday, and things like that. So they are really gearing up for that event. And their total target is pretty modest, let me tell you that also. It's not that, I'm saying, hey, with this kind of mileage, you should do a 345 or sub 4, and they're saying, no, no, I'm happy with 445 or 5. So those are kind of remarks coming in with people who are really preparing very well, and they have done comrades and things like that. So I feel most importantly, we must understand the route is tough, the weather could play bad,
Mhm.
but the race is fantastic. So with that as an overview, you really want to enjoy the race, you have to be slightly conservative, is what I really like to say. That's not, I wouldn't say Hyderabad is a race to go ahead and try to get your PB, to be
Mhm.
honest. If at
Mhm.
all you're looking at PB, probably look at some other races. This is a race where you kind of start, as Rajesh rightly said, you start the racing season. Okay.
Right.
So you
Right.
put that as a good practice run, right? If your challenge is you're looking at, if in a challenging terrain you want to do a good time, great.
Mhm.
Okay, that's one way you look at it. So you probably try to achieve a good timing in a difficult terrain with the kind of training if you have put in. Lovely. So go all out. But also look at the fact that in the end, you should have that kind of energy to carry on. You shouldn't be falling prey to some kind of enticement on the way and probably probably not looking good at the end. Right. So
Right.
so that's something, if somebody does it, I am sure that there'll be hardly any pitfalls, possibly.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, Krishna, there's a question for you again from Sanjit Chakrabarti. What should be the ideal percentage of maximum heart rate for this particular course? I think that's an. I think you're the right person to
Yeah.
answer that kind of a question, basically,
So,
right?
so the the principles of heart rate based running or heart based are the same in whatever the course or terrain may be. So
Mhm.
the maximum heart rate is 220 minus age, but we target at the target heart rate should be 180 minus age. And
Mhm.
what we
Mhm.
generally say is that 85% of that should be the maximum heart rate that anybody, preferably that when you are
Mhm.
running. And then if you notice that your heart rate is going much higher than that, much higher,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
it is reaching 180 minus age at very soon or no effort, it is better to slow down. In the
Mhm.
long run, when you complete the course, it will be easier for you. And
Mhm.
I always keep telling to my co-runners, whoever asks, is that if you are targeting for a time on a race day, then question yourself whether
Mhm.
you have trained for it. If you have not trained
Right.
for it, then in Hyderabad, don't try. As Shyam was telling, don't try that in Hyderabad. And number two, even if you have trained for that, on that day when you start running, keep asking your question: is your body all right to attain that target timing or target thing? Then
Mhm.
things will fall in place. So the precise answer to your question, what should be the ideal percentage of maximum heart rate? It is the same like in any other course or any other day. So on
Mhm.
the race day, possibly it can be some 10%, 5% here or there. But most of the times, try to be within your 180 minus age, that whatever is the heart rate is there, and try and see that if you can not cross that for a longer periods of a short sprint here or there is okay, but then it is better to follow that.
Fantastic, fantastic. As we are talking about it, I'm kind of sandwiching, and we are, kind of almost reaching the last segment of the show. Rajesh, you want to talk about the sustainability measures? I made a mention of this at the beginning. Hyderabad is championing the cause of sustainability. So, and I know this has been an ongoing effort, but you want to take us through it, basically?
Yeah, thank you, Kartik. So first is I keep telling, and like somebody told me, the most sustainable race is a race which is not started. So with that with that, I would like to tell that, still we do kind of generate a lot of things. And last year when we became a World Athletics label event, even earlier we tried to get it to minimal wastage and recycling and everything. But then last year the World Athletics label event has given us a more push in terms of what we can do. So
Mhm,
from the idea of starting from opt-out of t-shirts, we
mhm,
have been working on improving the signage without compromising for the runners, how we can decrease the amount of flex printing which we do. We
mhm,
have started looking at, and we like to happily tell you that from year one, we have been giving only the paper cups. So we
mhm,
would like to continue with that. At the end, we try to give one bottle of water because it's so difficult to get to manage all this. So
mhm,
we would
mhm,
request runners to see if you can, kind of bring your own bottle or your sipper to kind of
mhm,
refill stuff. I know that it might be difficult for the fast runners and all that, but we are there to support them. Uh, we also kind of have taken this very seriously. We're working with the rag pickers community,
mhm,
wherein they come on that day. It's like a day of livelihood for them. We are also in this process exposing to the idea of active lifestyle being, wellness is important, active
right.
lifestyle is important for everybody. So some people say that that person works, but still he is not ill. So we'll have to kind of figure out that. That's one. And the fact that we serve hot breakfast, we would like to see request people to kind of, be cautious in what they do with the food. So these are all the things which we're working. We also have got the support of the sponsors on this and trying to do. So over the next few years, we've charted out a kind of map on this as to how we really can get it to uh, making it most sustainable race. So we are looking, exploring at options on how that entire usage of flags and plastic and all these things, how we can decrease it.
Mhm,
So we are serious about it, and as organizers, we are putting in all these efforts, and we would request our runners to cooperate with us on this, because end of the day, it's the runner who is going to make the race what it is. We might organize the best race or whatever. Without runners, it's not going to be there. So we would request the runners to be cognizant of the fact, and hopefully kind of be one of, I would not say the pioneers, but set out a model where we can support other races and what we do.
wonderful. So, as a runner myself, and I'm not running the marathon, I'm running the half marathon. That's what I come back to Hyderabad year on year. So, when I run through a SAG, or sorry, through your aid stations, through your water stations and aid stations, there will be paper cups. If I have to pick something on the go, paper cups would be available, which would be lent out by the volunteers, right?
That's
And if I get it right, what you're saying is that you would not be providing bottles, but instead you would encourage runners to bring their own bottles, BYOB as it
that's
goes
true.
nowadays, basically.
BYOB or BYO, bring your own sipper or bring your own bottle.
Okay, okay, okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, I think that's a really fantastic initiative, and good that we are informing runners ahead of time, basically, right? So, so that they are also prepared, right? Okay, so okay, moving ahead, there's just one more interesting trivia before I kind of wanted to get to the finish line. How did I don't know, maybe Krishna, you want to take it, and then I'll go to Shyam about this. How did Durgam Cheruvu come into the picture? Basically, I know Rajesh said it was aspirations of a ever growing Hyderabad, but how did Durgam Cheruvu come into the picture?
Yeah, as you know, we used to earlier go through road number 36 and go to the Cyber Towers, which Cyber Towers again was the landmark. I mean,
Right,
Cyber Towers, it was like ITPL in Bangalore. Cyber Towers was a standalone building. And
right,
around that, the entire new area of Cyberabad itself has come out, the vision
right.
of the former Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, and now it's Telangana state. And
Right.
so it's like the IT hub now, what you have in that area. But because the road number 36 has become busy, they kind of brought out this alternate route through Durgam Cheru. So Durgam Cheru, interestingly, when in the initial days when we used to run, it was called the Silent Lake, the undiscovered and the Silent Lake, where there was no civilization. So we used to go there, and literally we had to, we used to organize small runs through that area where we used to do trash collection and all that back in 2010, 11, 12, 13. So the new IT district necessitated connecting, uh, giving out another route to connect the Jubilee Hills with the Cyberabad area. So once that came through, automatically the police felt like, okay, now instead of that, use this route, which is very good. It's more scenic and it's to again showcase the city. It's like, running through the ceiling in Bombay, because I remember the
Okay.
first time, first few years when I ran Bombay, it was to the reclamation and back. And once the
Okay.
ceiling came, that became very iconic. It was running on the ceiling. But to always tell you that from an organizer's perspective, also, traffic management and everything else from the city, it does become easy for all the public and everybody. So when you run on the ceiling, it's nice. It's sometimes you run in the half, it's kind of dark, and you see there's no chance of actually running on ceiling because open only for
Right.
bikers.
Right.
Sham will be able to tell you about it, but that's one day we all runners feel so privileged about it.
Absolutely.
So same is the
Absolutely.
case with Durgam Cheru and all those things.
Yeah, surprisingly, you're right. I mean, last year was the first time I, ran. No, last two editions I've been running. Yeah, so it kind of there's a sense of deja vu. Basically, it's just that probably ceiling comes much earlier in the morning, during the dark hours. But here you're really, and that silent thing that you said, I could actually relate to it when I ran through it. It was serene when you run through that until you come out on the other side, which almost becomes like it kind of gives you a couple of feelings. It's also like that Queensboro Bridge. When you come out of Queensboro Bridge of the New York
That's
City
right.
Marathon, you go into a
You
scream
enter
tunnel.
into you enter into Manhattan, it completely changes.
Yeah, so something like that. Those volunteers at the end of Durgam Cheru, they really, really get you on, basically, right?
That's right.
So yeah. So Sham, we're almost at the fag end of the show. So one question to you. We've been talking about marathons, and yeah, you've run a lot of marathons here. But what would be your message to half marathoners? A lot of people come to Hyderabad as it's a season opener. A lot of people come and do a half marathon in Hyderabad, and there are two distinct downhill sections in spite of all the uphill sections. One being that. Just before Durgam Cheru, basically, and the other being that IKEA junction to Biodiversity Park, right? So, how should a half marathoner tackle this course vis-a-vis a full marathoner?
Right. See, I have few friends, of course, who are full marathoners, but they do deliberately come for half marathon as well in
Mhm,
Hyderabad.
mhm,
Considering the fact that, of course, full marathon is challenging, and they possibly want to have a better timing in half marathon. So
mhm,
that's one of the key reason why they do that.
mhm,
For half marathon, of course, you're starting with a lot of people around. So around, as
mhm,
Rajesh said, 7,000 runners are there in half marathon. Okay.
mhm,
Now you have a big crowd. So again, there, if you are a half marathon itself, now again, what is your strategy? There could be some very fast runners who are aiming at sub two. Okay,
mhm,
so they could probably go with the two bus, or they may be solo runner, because I have a couple of friends who are kind of aiming always sub two over there. Now, sub two in Hyderabad is not so easy as compared to a probably Vedanta half marathon in Delhi, or a flatter route or a Jaipur marathon, or things like that. So here you must consider, as you rightly said, Kartik, that there are couple of difficult junction. One is that Durgam Cheru you're saying, and then the other one IKEA junction. So you have to consider that you will be getting flyovers, right? So it will not be a flat route. So people who are new to this route in half marathon should
mhm,
always consider that is more challenging than if they would have had an experience of Tata Mumbai, or I'm not saying Tata Mumbai is not tough. At times, people do find Pedder Road to be a tough stretch there,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
But trust me, this is a tougher one. Okay, so so if at all you're looking, you've had an experience of Tata Mumbai in the month of January, and then you think, okay, we can replicate this over here. So you are in for a little trouble, I must say. So you shouldn't kind of really pace yourself very fast and then kind of fall very flat and start walking half the way. So that shouldn't be a strategy, certainly. So you should pace yourself well. The key ultimately, Karthik, is all about your pacing, is what
Pacing
I've seen
strategy.
over a period of time. If you are a runner who believes that you can easily do a 150, let's take an example. I'm talking about fast runners. Then you must look at Hyderabad in terms of, okay, let me do a good sub 2 strategy, and we'll see halfway through how we are going. Right. So if you're sure that 150, 151 you can do, look at 155, 157 there till the halfway round. And then possibly you can always improvise upon that. Why to kind of go ahead and try and do 150 and then land up doing 25? Right.
Right,
So
right.
possibly that's something you need to understand when you're getting into difficult terrain. Now, I have seen over a period of time what really pace can do. If I run something like a Vasai Virar in December, a 42 there, which is of course again a difficult one, and then try to do within 1.5 months, 1.5 to 2 months, I try to do a Jaipur, which is a flat terrain, more or less. At 3 a.m. in the morning, it starts, okay, at an 8, 9 degree temperature in the winter in north, in Jaipur. So you can really improvise your time with the same
Right,
kind of, you see what I'm trying to say? So
right,
you
right,
have
right,
to
right.
kind of take into consideration what race you are getting into. Everything is not the same. It's August and it could be another 2014. You never, right? And then the weather changes, and then probably yeah. So it's always good to start slower, I feel. Slow as in not very slow, as you rightly said earlier, and then build it up to that. Probably next five kilometer you see, and then 5 to 10 you make another strategy, 10 to 15. So you should be able to tweak your strategies on the way as well, and that you are
Right.
able to only when you're flexible with your pacing, is what my
Fantastic.
experience has been. So I'd like
That's
to.
that's that, that's some great inputs basically. Treat it as a season opener. There are stronger races to come. Okay, that kind of really brings us to the end. Rajesh, in terms of the finish line, right? Two key things. One is, of course, the baggage, considering it's a point-to-point race, and the other is the transport back to the respective places. What are the kind of arrangements that are usually made with respect to these two aspects from the stadium? Yeah, yeah, you probably want
Yeah,
to dwell on
so
that.
for the baggage, we have had instances in the past that the baggage bus was a bit late. But this year, we're working very closely with the police to see that there's a separate route accordingly, and it will be communicated, and we have a contact person, so he will let the bus come appropriately, so that we have set out a certain target where I don't want to disclose that it comes in, you know, probably just around after the first few elite marathoners finish it. So that's one target which we do. And
Okay.
we would like to kind of assure all the runners that there would not be any problem or delays in terms of seeing the baggages collected and collected smoothly. As for the finish area, we have had in the past, what we have had done is the start point for the 10K is high techs, and then for the 2142 is at the Tangband, the Hussain Sagar Lake.
Right.
So we've always ferried buses after 9:30, 10:30 buses to Hussain Sagar
Okay.
at the start area. That's always been there, and we will continue this year. Last year we had a slip up due to some logistical reasons, but this year
Right.
we would be deploying close to around, there's a transport team which is working with deploying around close to 45 to 50 buses, taking the help of police, where you will have runners dropped at Hightex and the Raidurga metro station,
Aha.
wherein there are more options for people to get autos or cabs or anywhere. Because this being the race route, it might be difficult for people to come here. We would also explore the option of dropping a few people in Lingapalli station, which is next to the University of Hyderabad. But for high-techs and for Raidurgam, yes, we have a team which is going to be working on it. to see that the runners get there, and from there they have options to kind of choose various options
Okay.
to get easier. So, however, we do envisage that there'll be a small time, which is the peak time where runners might have to wait longer, and we're going to be deploying close to around 60 buses, and we would request runners to be patient if if the buses are delayed or whatever it is. But that will be the best option which we can do and support so that people can go.
Fantastic. And is there an arrangement with the Hyderabad Metro as well? You say that you're dropping them at the Raidurg Metro station. So is there an arrangement with the Hyderabad Metro as well to ferry people across from there to their respective destinations?
So we have still, unlike other places, the Hyderabad Metro is a public-private partnership initiative. We are trying to work with them to see, hopefully the next year being the 15th year, we would be kind of trying to get something on board where we have the metro start early, and on the way back, if metro can cooperate, wherein the runners with the bib, they don't need to, it can be a free ride or whatever it is. We're going to be
All right.
working on them. But by the time we drop, as you're aware, metro is working, is fully functional. So it's easy for the runners to catch the metro train and go across to whichever is the nearest point, and from there probably figure out. So these
Right.
are the two things which we're doing. But I would like to kind of work with our team. Hopefully, the next year we have a more solid tie-up with metro to see that this goes through.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Wonderful. I think that's pretty reassuring from a runner's perspective, actually, to hear all this. Dr. Mohan had to leave us for another public appearance. So, Shyam, last question to you before I come back to Rajesh. Which is well, two parts of this question. So, the first part is, which is your favorite part of this race in terms of the route? Which is the part that you like the most? And the part that you, well, I don't want to use the word loath, but the part that you would rather not do, basically, or find pretty challenging.
Okay. The best part of the route is from kilometer 9 to 29.
Okay. When you have company.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you end 9 kilometer, you're joined by the half marathoners, and then some point of time you're joined by the 10 as well later on from high tech, and you are kind of enjoying the company. Of course, you are running, but then you have a lot of people around. There's buzz going on, volunteers cheering. Uh, I guess at times, what happens is when we enter the university, that's the time, okay, there's some volunteers they do their bit, they try to come and cheer you. Come on, sir, you're doing well. I said, how about running for some distance with me? So some of them are so sweet that they start running, almost for 100, 200 meters. And then I said, okay, you did a job. Don't worry now. You go and man the stage. So the part, especially, I would say, I wouldn't say that would not want to do, because you have to do if you have to finish the 42, right? Is beyond 30, of course. That's where the challenge starts coming in. You kind of find yourself a little lonely, because from 1 to 30 you are good, 1 to 29 to be precise, and then 29 to 30 you suddenly see there's no crowd, not much of crowd around you, and then you enter the university at 30th kilometer, and then you have, because university again is a little more compact. That's where, so the concentration of runners become higher. So that's a good venue, as Rajesh said, it's going to be now further. So it's good idea, because there you still have the concentration of runners, right? You don't still feel too lonely. But yeah, compared to the 20 kilometers which you ran with the crowd, yes, you're slightly lonelier. Let's put it this way.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
12 editions and counting. Like when you ask a mountaineer why Everest, they say because it's there. So 12 editions and counting. Why Hyderabad?
Why Hyderabad? Number one, I love the race. Okay.
Mhm.
And I really admire Hyderabad runners. Full marks to them always I've given, and I've influenced a lot of people to do this race because of the challenge, number one, and the organizing. See, number one is organizing part. The way they have organized, over a period of time, hats off, kudos to them, because uh, they set the trend of how volunteers need to be groomed and trained to cheer people when especially 42-kilometer guys are really lonely, especially when those earlier route used to be there. Used to going through a countryside kind of environment and then getting into. So that's where you need that, so full marks to them there. And of course, the entire organizing part. Of course, they have also evolved over a period of years, because there were at times some years where people did find towards the end the breakfast was not ready, or probably they didn't get the breakfast in the end. But that's a part and parcel of any event, right? So every event, you cannot say any event in the country, you cannot say it's always gone
Of
100%
course,
right.
of course,
Right.
of course.
So there are a lot of learning by the organizers, and more importantly, with that learning, what have you done next time? Have you really kind of put in that? And I've always found Hyderabad runners to be on the dot. If you've given a feedback this year, next year it is seen that it's been implemented.
It's incorporated. Okay.
So yeah, it is incorporated completely. So that's why, because I love this event. I love the runners over there. Love the organizing team. Rajesh has been. I know him since year one. Kali was another gentleman who was earlier there. I'm sure he must be there. Devyani, I know her since 2014. She was the first Hyderabad runner participant to go to Comrades this year in 2015.
That's
Right.
right.
So I remember she was doing Comrades, and she used to come to train in Lonavala all the way. So the dedication, persistence, for all and then the cohesive team of Hyderabad runners itself kind of motivates me to be part of that race every year. No other reason.
Fantastic. Fantastic, fantastic. So, Rajesh, I'll give you the final word on this discussion. It's been an exhilarating conversation. We had to lose the doctor to another commitment. Otherwise, I would have loved to pick up his thoughts. So, again, two questions to you. One is, if you ran the Hyderabad Marathon, your favorite part and your least favorite part. That's one part. And the final message to all the runners who are going to, land up in Hyderabad 2 weeks from now, basically, to run the NMDC Hyderabad Marathon 2025.
I should make a confession. I know I would like to use this option to make this confession. I've now run the marathon myself, which is unfortunate. I've been doing this, but I kind of go for my dry run and then I do my volunteer run. So just to kind of experience it. And only 1 year, I think it was in 2013, that I did get a bit adventurous and I didn't do the entire 42, but ended up doing close to 38, 39 kilometers. And since I was just all alone, just to kind of experience it, I did it. That was the first and the last time I did something like that. But yeah, for me, the best part of the route, I would say, I know people would think I'm crazy, but then the entire thing from the Nagarjuna Circle and the thing from Panjagutta to KBR Park. I mean, it's not the reason why I tell that is, if you just plan it well and get into that meditative zone, you crack it. And then that's like roughly the seventh kilometer for the half marathon.
Right,
And
right.
then for the full marathons around 15, 16. Then onwards, it's not difficult. You're going on a flow. It's like a small uphill and a small downhill, except for the Gachibowli flyover, as Shyam was
Yeah,
mentioning.
yeah.
Everything is like there is this gentle drop and pick up, which kind of pushes you. That is what I would say in terms of the my best part. And every time I train or whenever I want to kind of train hard, it's a small stretch over there. The 2 kilometer stretch is something which makes me good. Else, a lot of it is scenic in terms of the city, the landscape. You have the KBR Park, you have the Hussain Sagar Lake, which is so historic, and then you go through the Durgam Shervi, all this. I mean, I was just telling you, right? It's older than Himalayas. It's just
The
50.
Deccan Plateau in itself,
Yeah,
right?
it's 7 million years old, and this is like thousand. I mean, like close to 150 million years of age. So it's beautiful that way to kind of experience all this. I know we lost a lot of the rocks in the city, but it's beautiful that way to experience what it is. You go through all parts of it, and then what is it? My message to the runners. I would say that just with 10, 15 days to go, I would just, I use this word, it's a sterile period. All your running, everything, you have done. Don't do anything untoward. Just take care of yourself, take care of your sleep, your diet. And, we thank you for having registered. I just got this information. We have 3,294 as of date. I mean, as still the data is being cleaned up and compiled, and BIP's going to print. You have 3,294 from out of station, just in the half and the full marathon. And if I were to include the 10K, it probably must be more couple of hundred. So it's roughly we're looking at 3,600 people coming from out of station. That we welcome you to Hyderabad. Come and enjoy the race, the weather, and people like Shyam who have been so profuse in their praise for us. It's we like to say that it's always a run by the runners, of the runners, and for the runners. And we would like to stay focused on doing this. And the entire enthusiasm and everything for the team here at Hyderabad Runners and the Hyderabad Marathon is the feedback, and to see how best we can create those beautiful moments of truth for you people as you run the race.
Fantastic. That's great words. And I think that 4 to 7 is something, Arvind also told me the last year around that, once you go through that, it literally the rest of the race becomes easy, except for that, of course, the Gachibowli flyover, where we hope you're again going to line up children. I mean, one edition you'd lined up children, and that was, I
Yes.
mean, till date, a lot of people from Bangalore come back to Hyderabad just for those children, actually.
Yes,
So
yes. We're
we
working on that to get them back, and some kind of entertainment station. We're having a team completely engaging with the city to see how we can get them onto the road. And unless the city owns the event, this event will not become part of the city. So we strongly believe that, and there's going to be a deep engagement. There's a deep engagement going on with the city to see how people can come and be part of it if they're not running, but to volunteer, cheer, and do what best they can.
That'll be brilliant, actually, for a city like Hyderabad. I'm sure, once it's just probably that point. Once people start coming out, this is going to be
Yes.
a Mumbai in the making, basically. There are no two
Thank you.
ways about it. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I'd be failing in my duties if I don't say my thanks to Shiv from Hyderabad Runners, Dr. Madhu from Hyderabad Runners, my own team here, Arvind, Aditi, Kartik Nadar, from Geeks on Feet, and all the others who really made this possible. The running community at large. It's you people who, enthuse us, encourage us, inspire us to do this kind of stuff. And we hope that by doing this, you find it a tad bit more helpful when you land in on Hyderabad. I'm sure Rajesh and his team will also put out brilliant recommendations for biryani and Irani chai in the city. So, yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes.
along with the Deccan, enjoy the food and the cuisine also that Deccan has to offer. Right. With all that, have a wonderful evening, guys, and all the very best. Looking forward to the 14th edition of the Hyderabad Marathon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kartik. Thank you, the teams and Geeks on Feet and from the Hyderabad Runners. Thanks, Sham, for uh, everything you could recollect, which many of our own runners or part of the team wouldn't be knowing. Thanks, and we thank you for your support and for many other people who kind of come back and support us.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you. Thank you for wishing that. And thank you, Kartik. And thank you for inviting. Yeah.
Thank you, Sham. Thank you so much for graciously